In the world of AI and technology taking over the world, we tend to miss people centricity and values attached to it. On Let's Talk People, we are talking culture, diversity, community building, and so much more. So join us and let's get talking. Assalamu alaikum and welcome back to another episode of Let's Talk People with LJH and aka Yes People Person. Today I am very happy and it's like a dream come true because जब आपकी ड्रीम होती है तो आपको ड्रीम के साथ जो है एक आपकी ड्राइव होती है, आपका पर्पस होता है, आपको फुलफिल करना होता है. आज मेरे पास दो सीरियल एंटरप्रेन्योर्स हैं. आई नो देम फ्रॉम a very long time but never get to capitalize the network that I had. Finally, akal aayi to I'm capitalizing the network that I'm gonna configure to the conversation. Ek cheez hoti hai compassion. We have compassion and we have tech and we have savviness and we have converting CSR into a full-fledged business as well as community building and doing so much that I cannot do in the intro. Let's welcome our guest, Azima Dhanjee, who is the co-founder of ConnectHear. ConnectHear आपको सारी चीज़ों के बारे में बताएंगी Azima. मैं नहीं आपको इंट्रोडक्शन देने वाली क्योंकि वो उसके बारे में compassion है. I just want to hear the journey. And let's welcome the techie guy, the behind the camera, and of course the one who is parting the execution, right? Let's welcome Arhum. Arhum, how are you going?
Hi, I'm good.
Arhum, मैंने सुना है आप जो है बहुत ज़्यादा काम कर रहे थे. अभी मीटिंग भी आप कर रहे थे. और अजीमा आपको वेट कर रही थी. अजीमा मुझे कह रही हैं अरहम बहुत काम करवाते हैं मुझसे.
Yes.
फिर अरहम ने मुझे कहा अजीमा बहुत करवाती हैं. ये क्या सीन चल रहा है?
I think when you're co-founders, you both are always working.
Yeah.
So there's never one person or the other. Nope.
So you guys are co-founders.
Yes.
You have founded a company that's called
ConnectHear.
Right. Did you guys hear it? हम दोबारा बोल सकते हैं please?
ConnectHear.
It's called ConnectHear. So why ConnectHear?
Like the name?
Yeah.
Okay, so it's actually a pun. So here is spelled as HEAR.
Got it.
And the whole idea is that we want to connect the deaf community with the hearing community. And it's also a pun, so it's also connect here, like right now, not wait up for it.
Mm-hmm.
It took us a while, but the whole idea was to tell people ki communication or language barrier ki wajah se you can't keep communities aside. It's now the time to just bring people together and connect them with each other over here.
Right. Saram, I want your perspective on a thing कि it's all अब जब भी हम deaf communities की बात करते हैं हम Azima, what is that word that we were discussing when you use that term?
Like when we talk about the entire community, we say people with disabilities,
right.
And there's a lot of different types of it.
Right.
And among people with disabilities, we have the deaf community, people who can't hear and use sign language as a mode of communication.
Right, that makes sense. So Arhum, my question is that Azima is like the brand face, right? I see her every time and she's so compassionate कि मैं बस सुनना चाहती हूँ Azima कि आपने 19 ईयर की उम्र में एक प्रॉब्लम आइडेंटिफाई की जो कि I'm going to go on to that और उसको आपने कैपिटलाइज करते you are right now here where you are thinking of work-life balance. Allah shukr. So congratulations on that. अरे मुझे बता सकते हैं कि you being the tech person, I would love to have your background. तो मुझे थोड़ा सा background देते हुए बताएं कि how did you get onboarded? Why Azima and why ConnectHear?
Sure. I think so. We actually interestingly go back around 10 to 12 years.
Oh wow. Yeah.
We went on an exchange program called the Youth Exchange and Studies Scholarship.
So you guys were in the university together or college together?
So actually well before that too. So it's the YES program.
14.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So
आप तो 19 में काम करी थी मैम. You were like full-fledged entrepreneur.
So was Arhum because we started the business.
So you guys have like same age group?
yes.
We are the same age and
Right.
we went to the YES program, then we went to college together and then we were off different routes when university ka time aaya tha, but then we connected again to start ConnectHear together. So the
Right.
whole idea, the vision, everything was done together and it's great that we could bring different flavors to the table, different skill set, which is very important when you build a co-founding team.
Right. I'm going to jump on to the business model. So मैं talent के बारे में बात करूँगी. Then I'm going to jump to that. My question again is that कि why?
So I think for us, for a very long time, yes, se jab hum वापस आए थे, we had a lot of opportunity to do very small projects, development के around ना.
Yeah.
So, and we focused on a lot of different verticals. There was ensuring educational access, whether it was CSK education or just generally primary education, whether that's women empowerment. There were so many different things जो हम individual level पे करते थे.
Right.
But I think once we sort of sat down and realized कि यार we're very young right now, but like what do we want to build that sort of leaves a legacy that lives beyond us, that हम लोग कोई ऐसी चीज करें जिसमें जो है we sort of aren't the only people doing it or making the difference. We kind of kick it off, but उसके बाद we build this sort of self-sustaining mechanism जो पूरी हमारी पूरी as a nation or even as a global village, basically we पूरी problem of inaccessibility of deaf people वो solve करें. Everyone already knows the sort of vision and the drive and the inspiration with Azima's parents, and for me also they were the first ever deaf people I met, and I had no idea about sign language. I had no idea about the challenges they faced. So I think once Azima sort of shared her drive and passion of doing something that would live long beyond us, I was truly on board, and that's when we sort of kicked off about 5.5 years ago. Yeah.
And also the fact that Arhum has, been always crazy about technology, really good at it since a very young age.
Yeah.
And he always wanted to use technology for social good. So he was like teaching very young students from underprivileged backgrounds on how to, use tech and build something out of it and give them the opportunities that normally their schools can't provide. So that was also one of the drive, because you find a lot of people, especially now, who are very into tech and learning it and everything. But the reason why Arhum was like the perfect, puzzle piece for ConnectHear was because he was driven to use technology for something impactful and something that supports a larger community that no one's thinking about.
Yeah, back in 2018, अच्छा आप लोगों ने ConnectHear शुरू कब किया था? 2017 में. तो आप लोग नेस्लिंग में कब गए थे?
We went to Nest in 2017.
Yeah.
And we started the whole thing over there, just walking into Nest and trying to connect with the people there, trying to talk to Jahara. We had our summer break, university के बीच में.
तो मुझे बता सकते हैं कि you had an idea, he got on boarded. You told me कि आपका why ConnectHear, right? You told me that now here, that's why what you want to do. You don't want to do any action delay. You want to do action plan right there and right now to start
connecting community
connecting community, because connecting, enabling is a very important function of ConnectHear as well as Let's Talk People, which I'm going to jump on to, and I would love to have your 2 cents on it. Coming back to the thing that I want to pinpoint it, कि आप लोगों ने start किया 2017 में, you got on boarded, right? If I'm trying to understand it. So Azima had this idea. She has an idea. She has an idea. You got on boarded. You had a tag guy. You were the community person. You got aligned, right? Great. How 17 में start किया तो क्या किया, फिर 18 में क्या कर रहे थे, 19 में क्या कर रहे थे, मुझे बस आपने take me through the journey please.
Sure. I think in 2017, like Azima mentioned, one of the sort of really great moves we made were to just go to people we knew were sort of the best possible mentors and advisors available to us. So we went to the Nest.io. So I think,
online.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, online.
I mean, we live in an age where everything's accessible
आप लोग
from a
कौन सी
smartphone.
college university से belong करता है?
So we both went to the same college, Khan Higher Secondary School.
Right.
Then Azima went to IBA and I went to Habib.
You went to Habib and then
yes.
you were
Yeah,
Habib.
but we started
Yes.
ConnectHear before Arhum even
Yes.
joined university. He
Yeah.
was self-trained at that time.
So you guys were what, 1919 or 1818?
We were both 19
Yeah.
at that time.
1919?
2017, 19 years
शर्म
old.
करो तुम लोग, शर्म करो तुम लोग. जो अभी जो
No,
capitalize.
but I think
Yeah.
the biggest regret for us is we didn't start earlier when we were in college, because you have so much more time. Like you only have
Exactly.
hours.
और
between,
शर्म
like-
करें.
So I think it's like the resources are available as quickly as you can start, but everyone has that time in their life.
course.
Exactly.
And we started with just a Facebook page, so it wasn't like we belonged to business backgrounds, business families. We didn't have
No,
families
nothing.
handing out money to us. They supported us. They allowed us to, have the time to explore this, which is a huge thing, huge support. But however, we did not come from a business background, so it was more about bootstrapping and making the best out of the resources available to us. And we started with the Facebook page just to teach sign language. That was the goal.
Right.
And slowly and gradually just responding to kind of the needs of the society and the community who is reaching out to us.
Right. So I'm just gonna emphasize कि मैंने शर्म करो क्यों बोला. It's not because they started the journey. Everyone there who has their own path, has their own journey, own timeline. आप जब भी start करें, we are always here to support you. These are the mentor, me as an entrepreneur, and Let's Talk People being a platform, being an enabler person, ConnectHear being an enabler to the ecosystem of especially segment audience. There's always you doing so much that you can do. However, capitalizing on a young age, it's very important. And when I say shame, it's not the shame that you should feel, oh my God, I'm not doing anything. It's the shame that you should feel that you have so much to capitalize on. Pakistan is like, what did I say? पाकिस्तान के ऊपर एक केस स्टडी बनानी चाहिए सबको मिलके, you know, पाकिस्तान की केस स्टडी बनाएं. आप बच्चों को बोलें कि पाकिस्तान की केस स्टडी बनाएं और बताएं पाकिस्तान को आप ठीक कैसे कर सकते हैं. एक छोटे से बच्चे से पूछें वो जो मुझे बताएं आपकी फेवरेट एज ग्रुप कौन सी है. क्या एज ग्रुप कौन सी है?
I don't know how to answer that question.
Any छोटे बच्चे कैसे पसंद, नहीं पसंद तो बोले नहीं पसंद.
No, I'm such a
really?
I'm good with kids, yes.
Yeah, so what is the age group? Like tell me the age group.
So I think particularly तो जैसे आपका
Like
15 to 18 वाला
toddlers
जो
है, age group है.
I mean, they can't really do much, बेचारे. So, yeah. But no, so in all honesty, I think the sort of time period where people are, transitioning into अपने board के exams और वो सब 7th to 8th class is sort of where उनकी personality solidify.
Right?
Yeah, exactly.
Taught them to, right?
So वहाँ उन लोगों की personalities थोड़ी solidify होने लगती हैं. They see the world in a light now where they understand what they like, what they don't like. So I think at that point, if you sort of give them an opportunity to understand yaar, these are the resources, exploit them and try to do the best you can with your life. Exactly. Absolutely.
Can you tell me like why exploit them?
Sure.
क्योंकि exploit करो सब अल्फाज सुनेंगे बोलेंगे exploit करें resources को.
No, so obviously I mean exploiting them in terms of sort of extracting the maximum possible value out of something.
At a very young age.
At a very young age, exactly. Smartphones ka access now everyone has.
Right.
Unfortunately, I think while we were growing up, we didn't have smartphones.
उसमें क्या कौन से फोन चल रहे थे?
I didn't even have.
I had the U phone का जो नहीं
exactly, वो छोटा वाला.
30 messages एक वक्त पे आप कर सकते थे.
Right.
Green light और black screen वाली जो होती थी ना वो बड़े weird वाला.
आप tech के हैं और आप community हैं.
Exactly. So, but even then, basically ये था कि when we started ConnectHear, this was again the same focus, right? What is it that we have available to us that doesn't cost us much, and how can we utilize that for maximum impact? So, like Azima mentioned, a Facebook page was something जो literally हम लोग अपने smartphones पे कर सकते थे. Videos, and we all also have a camera in our pockets. So we had a lot of resources available to us that weren't just being utilized in the best way possible. And sort of once we started doing that, we garnered the support we got. We amassed a whole community. We were able to educate and aware a lot of people in terms of what we were about and how they could play their part in sort of making the community much more accessible for deaf individuals across Pakistan.
And Arhum has a 12-year-old sister who is a vlogger, Insta vlogger.
Wow.
Yeah.
And she builds so much content. And I think it comes with like understanding के आपके पास जो भी resources है, आपके parents के mobile phone है, because she always uses Arham's phone to make these videos.
How old is she?
Yeah.
She's 12.
What's her name?
Isha.
Can you tell me her Instagram handle at the moment?
Sure, I think it's Ishtiaq.
Shout out to her, please.
Yeah, but you can pull that up on the...
Isha, can you please collab with me on Yes a People
Please
person?
do.
Yes.
Yeah, I want to collab.
So much
You
fun
are gonna
talking to
collab
her.
with me as well,
Yeah, we all do.
So we're gonna do what I'm gonna like quickly. I'm gonna give them a teaser. What happening is कि everyone जिसको भी मैं बोलती हूँ I'm gonna make 30 seconds or 60 seconds video जिसमें मैं 3 questions पूछूंगी. What is people to you? Because people एक बहुत बड़ा concept है. I'm gonna come to that कि what is people का concept आपके लिए क्या है? Then who are you and what are you building? या what are you doing? What is the skill that you can teach off? या और अगर आप mentorship देते हैं तो आप उसकी capitalization क्या होगी? Because अगर मेरा objective Let's Talk People की capitalization का और मैं inclusion का financial का ये है कि अगर मैं आप लोगों को बोलूँ take this for like 100 rupees. तो you might think कि okay अच्छा quality अच्छी है लारे मुझे 60 का दो you're going to negotiate it अगर आप मेमनी है तो I'm sorry but it's good thing I do that every time not मेमनी at the point I'm just trying to make a fun segment here. However if you're gonna say कि मैं आपको एक souvenir के तौर पे देती हूँ you might value it too if you have brains but if I say कि मेरे पास time नहीं था मैं ऐसी पढ़ा हुआ है आप ले लें please तो आप इसको लेंगे और आपको स्पेशल में भेज देंगे राइट फ्री की चीज़ इंसान को नहीं समझ आती है. कमिंग बैक टू द पॉइंट कि आई एम गोना कंटिन्यू द जर्नी बट मुझे आप अजीमा बता सकती हैं कि यू टारगेटेड अ वेरी नीश सेगमेंट, राइट? मुझे बिजनेस मॉडल आप उनको बिजनेस मॉडल जरूर समझाएं. मुझे आप ये बताएं कि आपने टारगेट तो कर लिया, यू मेक द ड्राइव, यू नो व्हाट यू ड्रिल, यू न्यू व्हाट यू ड्रिल. आपने इसको कैपिटलाइज कैसे किया? Like you started your journey. I would just pontificate on a point कि आपने कैपिटलाइज कैसे किया, क्योंकि यूजली जब आप जाते हैं तो वो क्योंकि मैं कोर HR से बिलोंग करती हूँ, मार्केटिंग 3 साल, फिर HR 1 साल, और HR में 1 साल और करूँगी, फिर मैं आपको बताऊँगी कि HR में हम और क्या कर सकते हैं. I'm gonna tell you the secrets. Anyways, तो उसमें जब HR में हम जाते हैं तो बजटाइजेशन होती है. बजटाइजेशन में आप जब कॉर्पोरेट में आप काम कर रही होती हैं, अजीमा, जब आप क्लाइंट्स को डील कर रही होती हैं, तो आप एक अल्फाज सुनती हूँ, हमारे पास बजट नहीं है, हमारे पास इंक्लूजन का बजट, हमारे डाइवर्सिटी का बजट खत्म हो गया है, हमारे पास जो है इसका बजट नहीं है. तो बजट अलॉट होते हैं, इट्स गुड इनफ, बट इसकी बजटाइज तो होना ही नहीं चाहिए. ये तो आपके फ्लो में होना चाहिए. आप हर जगह आप इंक्लूजन कैसे लाएंगे, आप डाइवर्सिटी कैसे लाएंगे? अब आप लोगों के लिए इंक्लूजन और डाइवर्सिटी, दे आर लाइक जार्गन्स. तो वी हैव पीपल हु आर गोना एक्सप्लेन यू व्हाट आर द जार्गन्स. बट आप मुझे ये बताएं कि आपने CSR एक्टिविटी को आपने कॉर्पोरेट में कैसे बदला? ये जार्गन्स का मुझे ज़रा मतलब बताएं कि व्हाट इज़ डाइवर्सिटी, व्हाट इज़ इंक्लूजन, उसमें क्या क्या आता है, उसमें क्या से बतना आता है कि आप जेंडर फीमेल को बता दें, फीमेल क्या मेल का जेंडर को ही डाइवर्सिटी कहते हैं, या और दुनिया में और क्या हो रहा है. एंड द लास्ट थिंग दैट आई हैव द क्वेश्चन इन माइंड इज कि आपने नॉर्म्स को चैलेंज किया, राइट? तो आपने नॉर्म्स को कैसे चैलेंज किया और क्यों? उसको आपने कैपिटलाइज कैसे किया?
Okay, so challenging the norms. Of course, we were working for a niche deaf community that not a lot of people think about, talk about. And when we even started, because we were studying in good universities, a lot of people asked us that, why did you pick to work for this particular segment? जबकि पाकिस्तान में इतने मसले हैं और इतनी opportunities हैं corporates में जाकर काम करने के लिए, ठीक है, आप next ride hailing app बना ले, food hailing app, इन चीजों पर जाएं that everyone's talking about. So why this particular group, why this niche? And our thinking was always that we started with an impact mission, and that went on to being commercialized and building into a proper business model. So it never started off with के हमें एक next ride hailing app बनानी है, हमें competitive industrial landscape पे जाकर काम करना है because it's a lot of money. It was more about how do we bring a community that has been marginalized for years into the mainstreams. And when we started the work, right, like we started with the Facebook page just to teach sign language, very naturally people started reaching out to us. We had individuals reaching out to us, we had companies reaching out to us. Companies हमें कहती थी कि हमारे event हो रहे हैं, हमें interpreter चाहिए because we have deaf employees. We'll pay you to come and do it. And as 19 years old, we're just bootstrapping. When you hear that, that's like a huge thing. Like, okay, so this is not something that we are boiling in our head. There is a community that has faith in it. And of course, the number is very, very small. It tells you कि अगर awareness बढ़ेगी, तो demand भी बढ़ेगी. So we started working in 2018. We did so much for awareness. We hosted the first ever deaf inclusive concert in Pakistan that was attended by 300 deaf people of all different age groups. We did a theater competition. Elections के वक्त हमने पूरे elections को sign language के अंदर interpret किया. And when all of that happened, very naturally the awareness, the demand for our services increased. We had more people understanding. And पहले होता था, लोग कहते थे ये साइन लैंग्वेज होती क्या है. But now if you do sessions even with like young kids, they have seen ConnectHear videos or our TikToks and they want to learn sign language. वो आपको खुद बताएंगे कि ना ये ज़बान होती है, expressions होते हैं, आप thank you इस तरह से कहते हैं. So I think the culture has shifted a lot. And not only that, but now you see जितना prominently companies बात करती थी about gender inclusion, when we talk about diversity and inclusion, you now see companies talking about disability inclusion. And that shift that you see, comes a lot with legislations and policies, but also people's own understanding कि यार there's a talent pool that has been dependent on, charity money for so long. If you empower them, what sort of difference that can make?
Exactly.
Right. So I wanna take it all in. Give me a moment. I'm going to take it all in. Right. So you, Azima, you mentioned that you had a market which was very niche. At the same time, when you were adding value to that community, to that market, like specific niche market, and you were fighting for that, you challenged the norms कि मुझे इन्हीं के लिए काम करना है. when people were telling you, okay, ये कर लो, तुम trending पे चले जाओ, तुम क्यों उस market पे जा रहे हो? You went there. You created value for the people that nobody were talking about.
Absolutely.
Right? You did that. Amazing. Kudos to you guys. I know why you did that. We know why you did that. Can you tell me कि अगर हम किसी चीज़ के लिए value addition करते हैं, आप एक value आपने बोला value addition कर रहे थे और हमारी market grow करी, तो वो growth कैसे आती है? मतलब value addition का growth से क्या link है?
I think so this is sort of a flywheel wali cheez na कि either you start with something very small, you get an opportunity to sort of validate the work that you're doing. And like Azima mentioned, initially yahi tha ki we knew it wasn't going to be fruitful going out to companies and demanding them कि नहीं आप जो है deaf लोगों को hire करो, आप sign language सिखाओ, आप जो है sensitivity trainings कराओ, आप जो हो technology use करो to empower persons with disabilities. But I think for us, a lot of the focus initially was in sort of educating the masses, helping everyone understand what sign language is, what interpretation is, what is the deaf community, what they're all about, and what are the sort of like talents that exist within that community, and how empowering them even just to sort of kick off their careers and their lives, they're now then able to be very independent and become active parts of the economy. So for us, it was very small projects initially. Then it evolved into providing them with different services. Pehle it was just doing a simple session, teaching them about sensitivity, awareness, about the deaf community and interpretation. Then it evolved into doing full-blown sign language classes. Classes jo hai, we offered to both companies and individuals. That grew over time. And then when we kind of developed our application and sort of made interpretation so easily accessible to anyone across the country, and we'll maybe get into a bit more about how it went international, it just became easy for people to, ensure that deaf people and their needs and, sort of how to empower them is always at the top of everyone's minds. And it is also convenient for them to sort of deploy those sort of solutions as well. So it is a slow process. It takes time. Like in terms of how you achieve that growth, that only starts when you sort of, start with one person and then let that impact sort of grow over time. Ek banda dusre ko batayega, dusra tisre ko. And then so far, mashallah, we've worked with more than 100 corporations across Pakistan. We're expanding into different regions across the world. Currently, we've partnered with 8 banks, and that sort of roster continues to grow.
Right.
But again, it was only a sort of amalgamation of 6 years of blood, sweat, and tears, and a lot of time and effort and patience being
6
put
years?
into it.
It's gonna touch 6 years.
Yeah.
Is it really 6
Very
years that you
soon.
guys feel that it's been 6 years? Or it's like more
No,
like 6
not
years.
really.
What does it feel like?
Yeah, I feel, I don't think it feels like 6 years. I feel 6 years is a lot of time when you think about it.
Yeah.
It feels that it was just yesterday when we were, working out of the nest and then shifted to the room in my garage. Like literal
You
typical,
did.
yes, typical Silicon Valley story,
So we were having the conversation of around very interesting topic that is shaping towards a conversation that I am keen to have, and I'm like literally, I have 2 beautiful people around this episode, and I'm so much stressed at the same time. I'm so much happy that I'm having this conversation at the moment, which is challenging the norms, right? So guys, we're challenging the norms out here. Azima, if you could pinpoint very quickly that what is the norms? क्या society की क्या norms क्या होते हैं?
I think it's a very broad thing. But I
Right.
think one norm is that our society is used to how things are. And when you bring in something new, itna jaldi adaptability nahi hoti hai. So you have to create a very strong case to make it adaptable. So I think that's basically challenging the norms.
Right. Arhum, what is challenging the norms to you?
So I think for me also, it is along similar lines.
Right.
You just give people the avenue to sort of think differently, to not sort of be comfortable, to challenge themselves, and just make a individual effort to make a difference, and then take that up and scale that up accordingly.
Okay, so I totally get on board it. तो आपने challenge किए norms को, आपने norms को challenge किया with ConnectHear. Can you tell me कि आप लोग ConnectHear में करते क्या हैं? What is the model? Like जिन लोगों को नहीं पता कि what, can you just tell them कि आप लोग क्या क्या services provide करते हैं? जैसे as you mentioned that you expanded your business from a Facebook page. You expanded your business from a Facebook page that was objective to just to make it easy to interpret. If I'm understanding it right. So you started with there and you ended up with a technology and you built it up on an app which is like very popular and getting everyone's attention. Why? Because you guys did the thing that was needed at the moment and you guys had envisioned that. So how that happened? और आपका एक business model क्या है? How does it work for you guys?
Sure. So I think, like you mentioned, सबसे पहले तो Facebook page हम लोगों ने बनाया था because that was the most easily available resource to us. The whole idea for that was making sure that we make it easy for people to understand what sign language is, what the deaf community is all about, what sign language interpretation is. And then slowly and steadily, we started partnering with a lot of different companies, helping them with different individual initiatives. And that basically involved allowing companies to make sure that agar unka koi deaf customer aa raha hai, agar unka, if they're hiring a deaf employee, how do they cater to them? How do they make sure that wo, between at least those two criteria are able to make it easy for those deaf individuals to be a part to take their services, to purchase their products, or to even basically act as a very independent employee for the company. So when we did that, for individual services team, then we realized that it is very important for us to sort of scale the business up.
Right,
because it's no sort of good agar hum 4 companies ke sath kaam kar rahe hain and for the next 6 years till today those are the only 4 companies we work for. So we understood that technology was going to play a huge part in this. Just like it did for our Facebook page, it allowed us to have like these 2 19 years old scale to a whole community of tens of thousands of people from not just across Pakistan but across the world. So similarly, we were like, yeah, we have to ensure that the basic experience of sign language interpretation, which is if I'm a deaf person and you're a hearing person, bringing in a third person who is a sign language interpreter, who's able to understand both of us and is able to relay the communication in real time, usko, instead of it being this very manual, laborious and physical process, that you find an interpreter, you basically ask them and pay them exorbitant rates, have them come to you in a physical space and do that, especially during the era of COVID we just went through. We understood that technology can play a huge role. All of us sitting here in this room and everywhere across this planet right now have a computer in our pockets. So I think it was a light bulb moment for us in terms of, why aren't we using that technology for ourselves? And, we got a sort of a kickstart when we got a call from this deaf person in Gujranwala. He called us over WhatsApp video call, told us that uska 2 saal se bank account hai, but uska jo bank card hai, jo aapka mera bada easily, instantly active ho jata hai, that just wasn't activated for him. Why? Because the expectation from the branch manager in the bank was that this deaf person is somehow going to call them to activate the card. And systems that are in place today did not exist those many years ago. So we were also confused. How do we assist someone who, as just like people in Karachi to someone in Gujranwala? So it was that person who told us, yaar, dekho, I'm calling you over WhatsApp video call right now. How about we do the same thing with an interpreter? So we sort of scheduled an appointment. He went to the bank, and then basically he had an interpreter on video call, and then our interpreter interpreted the whole conversation. Or within a couple of weeks, the deaf person had his card activated because the branch manager for the first time in a long while understood कि oh अच्छा इतनी simple सी चीज, we can sort of get that done, override some protocols and get that done for them. So that was sort of when it validated the idea कि अच्छा technology किस तरीके से use करके we can make sure that every deaf person is independent on their own, is not reliant on friends and families or expensive interpreters, and can now go out and live their lives, whether they want to go to the kone wali doodh double roti ki dukaan, whether they want to go to a life-threatening situation in a hospital, whether they want to build out their careers and go to a job interview, or just even to a basic retail stores or go for shopping in a mall. So all these experiences were basically enabled because we focus on the fact that technology ko use karke, we sort of want to build a business that is scalable. And now, mashallah, we're focusing on international expansion to allow other regions across the world to have a similar level of access to independence for deaf individuals, for companies that are already already working for that cause.
Absolutely. And I would just like to add on that
Please.
another thing that we realized was that, of course, the deaf people have the, reliance on a personal interpreter in their pockets. It is also necessary to reach out to the deaf community who don't have a mobile phone or don't have internet connectivity when they, walk out of their homes, or maybe are in situations of emergencies where they need an interpreter when they walk into a space. आपके लिए मेरे लिए किसी भी बैंक की ब्रांच जाना, किसी भी हॉस्पिटल जाना बहुत आसान है, क्योंकि हम जाके बातचीत कर लेते हैं और अपना काम करवा लेते हैं. But a deaf person don't have that liberty because वो कभी अगर emergency room में भी चले गए या किसी बैंक की ब्रांच चले गए, वहां पर बैठा मैनेजर या कोई भी हियरिंग पर्सन उनसे बातचीत नहीं कर पाएगा, वन ऑन वन कॉन्वर्सेशन नहीं कर पाएगा, which is why we decided and realized that it's so important to partner up with organizations that exist all over the country, in small villages, in small towns, and provide them with our technology so that if a deaf person walks into a bank and they need an interpreter, bank has a technology jisko istemal karke they can connect with a virtual sign language interpreter. And even for companies, it was a very solid solution because now they don't have to hire 10 or 20 interpreters for different cities and different locations. They can just have our technology and that can enable them to have access to interpreters, north of Pakistan se leke south of Pakistan.
Right. So I understand that you took technology as a leverage to your accessibility towards the community that you were targeting to. I understand that. When it comes to the point that you start offering services, that diversity of services, तो आज वो services आप offer कर रहे हैं, तो वो क्या services हैं? Can you just pinpoint that to me?
Absolutely. So I think our number one service is definitely our ConnectHear application that we provide to businesses and that enables businesses to be accessible. Other than that,
so it's B2B.
So our revenue streams are B2B.
Right.
So because we are a social enterprise, the
right.
whole idea is to be sustainable and impactful.
Of course.
So we provide our services to deaf people. हमने इस तरह से business बनाया हुआ है, model बनाया हुआ है कि end users जो deaf लोग हैं, उनको पैसे ना देने पड़ें. It's the corporations, the organizations that create an enabling environment because आपके लिए और हमारे लिए कोई अगर हम ब्रांच जाते हैं, we don't have to pay additional amount to talk to the manager there, right? We have the ability to do it. So why does a person with disability should have this additional burden कि अच्छा अगर हम बैंक चले भी जाएंगे, हमें एक interpreter को pay करना है ताकि वो हमारे लिए बातचीत कर सके. So our impact side is providing services without any cost to deaf people, enabling, empowering them. We work primarily B2B. That's our revenue stream. Businesses, partner up with us to use our technology. We provide sensitivity trainings. We train individuals to become disability champions and connect with persons with disability who are coming to their spaces. We also provide sign language classes. We produce a lot of video content in sign language. So we partner up with companies and make their information accessible to the deaf community. We have a studio, an amazing team who does that as well. And then we also partner with organizations and companies to hold large-scale events and internal events to make their spaces accessible. So we provide these different services as well as technology to our B2B clients so that they can themselves sustainably become an accessible and inclusive space on their own.
Right. So if you as you mentioned, that you guys, this is your first venture, right?
This is our
yes.
This is your first venture. You guys are social entrepreneurs. This is your first venture. We are talking about Azima and Arhum onboarding on Let's Talk People, guys. So if you could tell me a little bit more about B2B, but if we coming towards before B2B, can you tell me a little bit what is a social enterprise होती है और उसमें impact और sustainability का क्या ratio होता है और क्यों जरूरी है?
And there's no set ratio,
right?
But impact and sustainability both is important. And social enterprise, social entrepreneurship, I think it's such a beautiful concept because social enterprise is not an NGO because it relies on their own sustainable income, own revenue streams. At the same time, it's creating an impact for a particular group, a particular society. And जो twist है, जो change है वो ये होता है कि एक social enterprise अपने revenue को business में reinvest करती है to grow it further, to make even more impact. And that was our journey as well. You know, in the beginning, our revenue was coming from, you know, Facebook se jo clients utha liye, jinke saath one-on-one kaam kar liya. Then we reinvested it into our business 2 saal baad to create our first website. So we didn't have a website until 2 years of our business. So we reinvested to build that website and get more clients. And then we realized that, you know, video interpretation has such great potential that we reinvested our, you know, revenues into building this application, which is now making us more sustainable revenues every month. So it's more about reinvesting, creating greater impact, and scaling your business.
So up till now, we have covered that what is your business model. So you are basically a social entrepreneur. I bumble a lot, guys, so just bear with me. So can you like tell me what is social enterprise?
So ConnectHear is a social enterprise.
Thank you.
Yes, that works to
in
ensure
B2B.
We work with B2B clients,
Right.
to ensure information and communication accessibility for the deaf community.
Excellent. So the techie guy, tell me more about how did you take technology as a leverage from a Facebook app? Like अभी मुझे पता चला 2 साल. मतलब मैं आपको जानती हूँ 2018 से 17 तक मुझे कुछ नहीं पता था. 18 से मैं जानती हूँ. तो आपने 2 साल Facebook से क्लाइंट्स भी ले लिए.
Yes.
और कंटेंट भी बना दिया.
Yes.
और जिस पर कंटेंट जब कंटेंट क्रिएटर का वो बूम आने का पहले का तो ये मैं कंटेंट क्रिएशन के बूम आने से पहले का आपने वो सफर तय कर लिया एंड यू हैड अ विजन. आई एम नॉट अज्यूमिंग, आई एम 100% श्योर ये फैक्चुअल आप ठप्पा लगवा लें. यू गाइस आर लाइक विजनरीज, यंग एज विजनरीज एंड स्टिल रिग्रेटिंग कि उन्होंने और यंग क्यों नहीं शुरू किया. क्या करना क्या चाह रहे थे आप लोग? कितना यंग स्टार्ट करना चाह रहे थे आप लोग? खेलना कूदना नहीं था आप लोग ने? पार्टी शाड़ी नहीं करनी थी आप लोगों ने?
I think you can still do it. Right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That balance is so important. I think it's a bias that if you're an entrepreneur, that's all your life is about. It is, but it's so important to take that breaks every once in a while.
Absolutely.
So that you don't burn out. So खेलना कूदना भी था, बस बात ये थी कि टाइम ज्यादा था ना, तो हम लोग पढ़ भी सकते थे, enjoy भी कर सकते थे और काम भी कर सकते थे.
अच्छा, यहाँ पे मुझे बिफोर कमिंग टू पॉइंट आ रहा, मुझे एक बात बताएं. ये यूजली ना हमारे घरों की तरबियत, लाइक हमारे घरों की तरबियत, मुझे आपकी घरों की तरबियत मुझे ऐसा लगती है कि आप लोगों को या तो एक्सपेरिमेंट के लिए बहुत टाइम मिला या तो आपको पुश करा गया कि जाओ पॉकेट मनी दूंगा, कुछ करके दिखाओ. What was the situation at home?
I think it wasn't really either of those things. कि मतलब हमें अलग से push किया गया.
Yeah, your own drive थी कि कुछ करते हैं.
So that's what I wanted to sort of build to previously जो भी हम discuss कर रहे थे कि it's also not about कि आप जो हो पता नहीं अपनी जिंदगी में से सारा fun suck out कर देते हो और फिर आप startup शुरू करते हो. I think when you have a passion or drive for something that you want to do, right, it becomes fun every single day. We know nights where हम लोग 2-3 दिनों तक सोई नहीं है, सुबह से रात तक लगे हुए हैं. We're at office, then we're at each other's spaces, then we're at events. So we've had those days, and there is no denying कि those weren't tiring or those didn't completely drain us out. But I think what kept us going was constantly knowing कि you know we're on the right path to doing something big. We're on the right path to making a huge difference. And I think वो एक huge हमें जो बहुत ज़्यादा favor हुआ है that the community we worked for has been so vocal in letting us know constantly.
Oh my God, yes.
I think that has sort of also kept us going. So party, fun or wo sab, you know, that's just sort of one way of finding the peace that you need in your life, right? Or finding that balance. But I think we also had that just in a different context.
And absolutely, like the kind of opportunities it brings to you at a young age, right? Like we wouldn't have imagined going into spaces like, you know, sitting in a very provincial assembly meeting and interpret.
At what age are we talking about?
Sorry, what?
What age? I'm going to focus.
I think your puri journey, 19 and above, right? Like, you know, being young and then having the opportunity of meeting CEOs or going to events completely filled with like, you know, CEOs with 30-40 years of experience.
Right.
When you see all of that, it just drives you.
It drives you. मेरा नेक्स्ट सवाल आप लोग से यही था. मैं अब अहम का सवाल मैं पूरा कर ही नहीं पाई. मेरा नेक्स्ट सवाल ये था कि आप लोग को बच्चे हैं, you know, आप लोग टीनेज थे, like journey started it. ऐसी क्या ड्राइव थी? तो मुझे वो सवाल का जवाब मिल गया. एंड इफ यू आर स्मार्ट इनफ, सो एंड इफ यू आर पीपल पर्सन और इवन इफ यू आर गुड लिसनर, तो आपको समझ आएगा कि व्हाट ड्राइव्स देम. You when you get your exposure, it drives you. And when you have an impact that they have, so it drives them. And ultimately मुझे लगता था सिर्फ अजीमा के पास वो compassion है और अरहम तो एक टेक गाय है और उसने टेक्नोलॉजी को लेवरेज किया है. Right now I'm saying कि जज नहीं करना चाहिए और अजीम तो बिल्कुल भी नहीं करना चाहिए. तो thank you Arhum for coming on board actually.
Thanks for having
Yeah, they both have.
enjoying being called like techie guy.
Yeah, I'm like techie guy. I was like techie guy.
Arhum introduces himself to our team whenever we have a new employee. He's
Right.
like, I'm the
resident tech support.
Resident tech support.
tech
Yeah.
support. But of course, it's I think all of the co-founders need to have the same drive, the same impact and passion to keep going.
Right.
That is so important.
That
When
is
you
so
see it, whichever team you meet, whenever you meet them, you'll realize that though responsibilities, roles alag hai, maybe people talk to me more because I have deaf parents, right? But it doesn't mean that I'm the only one who's coming up with these ideas, right? The tech, the content that we build, all of it is this guy, right?
Yeah,
and then
yeah,
you
yeah.
need to realize that it's these puzzles that come together and it's so important to have these puzzles being recognized and appreciated and supported throughout the journey.
I completely agree. There is no beautiful way than you put it through. तो I'm just gonna मैं इसको summarize करूँगी यहाँ तक का ताकि मैं आगे बढ़ सकूँ क्योंकि इतनी सारी चीज़ें हम कहते हैं entrepreneurs का मसला होता है हमें हर जगह घुसना होता है हमें हर जगह explore करना होता है. So that's the drill. So I guess you were born an entrepreneur. Right? You were born an entrepreneur and you can be an entrepreneur by inspiring, right? We have behind the scene we have Laiba. We have Laiba. Laiba is a people person. Laiba is the part of the team of Let's Talk People. So Laiba know the drill, right? She is willing to explore. When you're willing to explore your market, any market, I think you'll end up being an entrepreneur. I think you'll agree with me at some point. या तो आप बहुत अच्छे प्रोफेशनल बन जाएंगे जो कि कहीं ना कहीं जाके इकोसिस्टम से मैच हो जाएगा या तो आप बहुत अच्छे एंटरप्रेन्योर बन जाएंगे जो कि कहीं ना कहीं इसको ना कहीं बेच के या तो बिजनेस भी बना देगा इम्पैक्ट भी बना देगा और वो कम्युनिटी को गेट बैक भी करेगा.
I think even simpler than that, you just have to have a problem you're passionate about.
That's
right.
I think once you have that,
Right. You need to understand your passion. आपका passion तो मुझे इस पॉडकास्ट से मिल ही जाएगा कि आप लोगों ने ढूंढा कैसे उसको. मुझे अभी तक का सम अप ये है कि ConnectHear, Azima, if you could just quickly tell me कि ConnectHear जो आपका brand persona, it was just to connect the segmented market niche that you have then and there without any delay so that their life could go on very easily. Right?
Yeah, they can be independent.
They can be independent, right? That's the word that we have, right? And then when it comes to the brand persona, so you being a co-founder, Azima being a co-founder is leading the community, is leading the brand, and leading the brand story behind you.
Absolutely.
That empowers it. And then tech guy, aka co-founder and aka, I have one more word if you could allow me so.
Please.
The compassion person, and a shout out to his sister for creating content and pushing him towards it and so forth. Like say so much story that मैं उसके लिए अलग podcast करूँगी. अभी मुझे उससे एक main focus है, right? So Arhum, could you tell me कि you started off with content creation, like you're not the tech guy, you're the content creating guy. I'm seeing you so many dimensions out here. तो अभी आप मुझे ये बताएं कि यू गाइस 2 साल आपने ऑपरेट किया अपने बिजनेस में विद फेसबुक ओनली और आपने क्लाइंट्स भी ऑनबोर्ड कर लिए. तो उस वक्त तो मेटा जो है बूम पे था, राइट? उस वक्त तो फेसबुक था, इंस्टाग्राम तो आ रहा था, वो तो पिक्चर्स का सेशन था, उसमें आप लोग वीडियोस भी इंट्रोड्यूस की, उसमें आप लोगों ने डिफरेंट डायनामिक्स को एक्सप्लोर किया. 2 साल, वो 2 साल का लर्निंग पॉइंट क्या था और वो आप लोगों ने एक्सप्लोर कैसे किया?
So I think it was I think एक जो हमारे पास understanding थी initially कि with how little resources we had, we wanted to make the most of it. और फिर उसमें what we understood was कि just social media is that one sort of tool that gives us access to all the segments we need to reach out, whether that's the hearing community out there जिसको हमें awareness देनी about the problem that exists around them in terms of inaccessibility for deaf people, whether that was the deaf people themselves and letting them know that there is now a solution or at least a cause out there, an initiative out there that is solely working for their independence. And then the third thing was the businesses, helping them understand what does an inclusive Pakistan, an inclusive space truly looks like, and how could they basically play their part in doing that. So when we sort of started with that, so un 2 saal jo hai, the major focus just was on education awareness, and basically that was it. It was ensuring, like Azima very succinctly mentioned,
were you capitalizing at that moment, like you were making any money or any gigs?
So yes,
you were decent.
Yeah, absolutely. So we were able to sustain ourselves to a point that we were a very lean, small team with not a lot of overhead.
How many lean are we talking? How humble are we?
So like what, 4 or 5 people back then?
हाँ I think 4-5 ही लोग होंगे हमें मिला के ना
exactly
आपको मिला के तो 2 आप 2 और right
2 और होंगे 3 और होंगे
You've been very humble out here 2 साल के स्टार्टअप में बूटस्ट्रैप किया आप लोगों ने और आप लोग बोल रहे हैं कि हम लोग 4 लोगों की टीम है 4 लोगों की टीम बहुत बड़ी होती है
right
आपको अंदाजा है इस बात का मैं एक टीम में आज इतनी खुश हूँ कि मेरे पास टीम है आप तो कितने खुश होंगे जब आपके 4 लोगों की टीम थी
I think उधर भी we were very privileged to find people that really associated with our cause and were just as passionate so मतलब it was certainly not ke we tried to get up enough funds to just hire a resource but it was rather more people coming together with us.
And I think we took a lot of risk.
Yeah, 100%.
What risk are we talking about?
Like risk with, so we had someone reaching out to us, oh, would you like to make a concert accessible? We don't have funds, but if you would like to do it, the concert ho raha hai, and if you would like to make it accessible for deaf people as well. And it was such a new concept for people in Pakistan.
अच्छा मैंने तो अभी वाव में देखा आप लोगों ने कब शुरू किया? First time.
Like concert interpretation 2018.
Yeah, April of 2018.
Yeah, that was the first event, and the first time Laraib, we posted about it on Instagram कि we are making a concert accessible for deaf people.
Right.
People were commenting कि यार deaf लोग गाने कैसे सुन सकते हैं ये कैसी बात है ना but जैसे concert हुआ था it was so beautiful if you were there yourself you just could not differentiate everyone was just enjoying music together we had sign language interpreters vibrations light colors everything just to show that any space can be made accessible.
Right.
So that was a huge risk to take right
Right.
पाएंगे नहीं कर पाएंगे kids people will take us seriously or not
of course
so it was just taking a lot of chances supporting
100%.
each other, supporting the team and making it happen.
Right. So I want to jump onto it more. I saw you guys in 2018 when I was like your fellow, क्या बोलेंगे उसको क्योंकि मैं भी आपकी
Nestling
fellow Nestling थी क्योंकि वो एसएन जबार का वेंचर था मैं क्रेडिट नहीं ले सकती मैं तो सिर्फ काम करी थी उनके लिए तो I was also a talent out there when I saw these guys and I wanted to connect with them और मैं भी उस वक्त कम्युनिटी बिल्ड करना चाह रही थी उन्हीं स्टार्टअप के अंदर मैं बेसिकली कम्युनिटी बिल्डिंग मैंने हमेशा से किया so cheers to me too please guys yeah can you laugh for me मेरा थोड़ा दिमाग सही हो रहेगा खैर coming to the back तो Facebook आप लोगों ने किया then you guys मुझे ये बताएं Facebook से ऐप तक की जर्नी में क्या क्या एक्सप्लोर करा और कहाँ आपने बोला कि ये कंटेंट जाएगा यहाँ पर सेव जाएंगे अजीमा को पुशअप करके आपने आगे किया और आपने कैसे पैकअप किया क्योंकि मुझे लगता है अजीमा को आपने आगे पुशअप किया और आपने बोला मैं पीछे संभाला अजीमा तुम जाओ
let's be very honest I think it was a natural sort of
yes
both of us gelled into our roles really nicely.
Right. Am I right in my guess?
So I think
not completely.
Semi. You're almost there. Yeah,
almost there, right?
Yeah,
right. I'm happy with that.
To correct the record.
I think definitely one thing that people looking at ConnectHear as just not in it's an emotional story and emotional startup, but there's a business sense to it. A lot of people take us seriously when they meet someone, who doesn't have a deaf background but is committed in doing so many business-based things. So I feel that both of our mixture in society was very, very important. Of course, people like to hear stories more, but when we talk about
emotions that we're talking about.
Yeah, we're talking about emotions, but just to make it a more serious startup, people see the synergy, and we're talking about the venture capitalists out there, the corporates out there, and they see the synergies of the co-founding team, and I think that's where both of our clients come.
Yeah, and let's be very honest. I think the roles that we sort of take up are so naturally our individual strengths that one without the other just doesn't work at all.
Absolutely,
it cannot. I can see the
financial sheets. I will cry. I will be like,
please
oh my god, numbers. And
if I have to be in social engagements a lot, I have to do a lot of talking.
You were the one who introduced the app, who introduced the idea of video. So फिर क्या
हुआ? But again, I think my strength is more so setting up those solutions rather than pitching them in a light where they're best presented to people as a solution. So but
the mixture is very important.
Absolutely, 100%.
And also I think it's so important to have your co-founding team, every member being very well spoken, because we represent ConnectHear in different locations, different events, not locally but internationally as well. So I was in States, Arhum was in Russia, so we're representing in different places. We don't have to. एक चीज हमें realize होती है जो हम शुरू में भी करते थे कि हर event में हर कोई पहुंचा हुआ होता था, and you're realizing अगर हम सभी पहुंच जाएंगे तो back office में काम कौन कर रहा होगा. So now naturally we take up responsibility. Okay, it's a more tech focused event. Arhum will relate to people more over there because
you are a tech guy, by the way.
Absolutely.
Now I know.
Like people would ask you like questions, and then you'll be like, oh my god, my co-founder knows this better. So having a co-founding team, each member being well spoken, being confident is also very important.
Right.
And you can only realize that when you represent different locations, use your strengths like Arhum talked about, and make the best out of it.
Great.
That's a strong co-founding team.
Right. Coming back to the question, how was क्या आपने explore किया journey? Facebook से आप app पे कैसे आए?
Sure.
How did you technology leverage कैसे किया?
हमारी initial क्या बल्कि current जो philosophy है, that is very simple in the sense कि यार any initiative we take up or any sort of responsibility we take up on what we should be doing regularly, it has to last the test of time. मतलब while we're okay with experimenting a lot of things, if we commit to something, we commit to it very fully. So Facebook wasn't something that we just did for 2 years and then shifted to the app, but rather Facebook and all social media became such a core part of who we are and the value we're able to provide to different segments that we're working for. I think for us, it was only validating कि अच्छा यार technology का एक vertical हम cover करें, which is social media. सही है, which is like एक separate platform है. So we're leveraging Facebook, TikTok, YouTube, Snack video बीच में आया था. So we also leverage that.
It's amazing, I think. It's amazing.
So we did all of that. But one thing we realized कि अच्छा, once we've kind of amassed that community on these platforms, we need to make sure that they are also connected on something that is completely ConnectHear. So that became our application.
I love what you did there. I love what you did there. I just love it. Like मैं सुन रही हूँ, please बोलते रहें.
Yeah, sure. So I think then the focus was कि अच्छा ठीक है, while we're utilizing third-party platforms, and for a very long time we did give video interpretation जब हम करते थे. We did try Zoom and Skype and WhatsApp video call before it was cool during COVID, you know.
Yeah.
But even after that, we realized that it's very important to have in-house technologies, to have in-house resources that you can deploy to people and have full control over. Because then we realized that this level of experience we can provide to someone on WhatsApp and to the experience we can provide on our own app is vastly different.
Right.
Jitna optimized or jitna seamless or simple hamari application ke upar hai, it can never be that on WhatsApp. So we realized that while what we're currently doing is always important and we have to continue doing that,
right.
which means that hamare social medias are still very active.
Right.
They're still
I know.
very engaging.
I love the videos that you guys do. I love it.
Yeah. So
Shout out to our team.
Yes.
Shout out, guys.
Shout out to our team.
Ab Shahid, you can take the names, you know.
Yeah, we have an amazing team. We have Yaver, who is our lead for all the videos. He's a deaf producer, like amazing producer.
Guys, amazing work that you do. Please. Yeah, मैं क्या बोलूँ?
We also have Talal, who actually helped us set it all up in the very beginning. We have Umar, Alia, Riaz, but like we have so many team members, who have been.
What is the team number that you guys have right at the moment?
12 people.
We're 12, yeah.
12 full time, and then we have about 30 part-time interpreters who work with us for different.
So how much are we talking about? Maybe we'll do maths.
So we're ever expanding. So like full-time team में भी 12 लोग हैं, but we have a lot of
core team आपकी 12 ही है और आपके पास
and then we have project-based contractors across Pakistan.
Excellent. I want to get into that too.
Sure.
So you just explained the idea कि उन्होंने कैसे brand experience को build करते हुए उन्होंने कहा कि जी मैं सब चीजें कर सकता हूँ. I think COVID-19 was a catalyst to the whole. अगर पाकिस्तान 30 साल में कहते हुए पीछे था तो COVID ने उसको 5 साल थोड़ा आगे कर दिया है. Right? So it was a catalyst to it. आपने कैसे अपने brand experience build करते हुए आपने experience पे एक होता है employee experience, एक होता है brand experience. मैं अभी जितनी भी startups को study कर रही हूँ because I'm building a case study for all of them. Right, because we are people connector. उनके लिए understand करना जरूरी है कि लोग कैसे काम करते हैं. लोगों के अंदर एक people का concept है. अब मैं लोगों की बात करती हूँ. जब मैंने ये वाला podcast शुरू किया ना, अजीमा, तो मुझे लोगों ने बोला, ओ आप तो HR का podcast करती हैं, आप तो HR की बंदी हैं. मैंने कहा मैं 3 साल marketing करके भी तो आई हूँ, उसको भी तो कोई capitalize करे. फिर HR.
And I think it just doesn't make sense to box people.
Exactly, it does not make sense. It doesn't make sense. So kind of like from Facebook to app, you build a brand experience. You worked on a brand experience, you wanted you want to leverage technology over the community, so you empowered them, right? And you want it कि technology ऐसी हो कि आप जितना WhatsApp easy करना आसान होता है, आप WhatsApp आप कर रहे हैं, वीडियो कॉल कर रहे हैं. मैं सुबह अपने दोस्त से मैंने वीडियो कॉल की, मैं ऑफिस से मैं हैबिट गई, हैबिट में वीडियो कॉल पे थी, हैबिट से वापसी ऑफिस गई तो मैं वीडियो कॉल पे थी, वो मेरे साथ बेचारा लगा रहा कि अच्छा ये करियो, ये कर लो, ऐसे कर लो, ऐसे कर लो. तो you made that happen with the technology.
Yes.
अच्छा, टेक्नोलॉजी बड़ा जार्गन वर्ड बोलते हैं लोग ना, मुझसे मैं बोलती हूँ टेक्नोलॉजी और विद ओपन चैट जीटी कमिंग है और कितना सारा. मेरे बॉस, मैं जिस ऑर्गेनाइजेशन में आईटी के सेक्टर में काम करती हूँ, आईटी सेक्टर एक बहुत कोर जो जैसे आईटी जब बूम भी नहीं करा था ना, जब आईटी का कॉन्सेप्ट नहीं था, जब बिल्कुल जो बेसिक 25-30 साल पीछे कर लें, तो मैं एक कंपनी में काम करी जो पायनियर्स है, वन ऑफ लाइक सेल्स ऑफ टेक्नोलॉजी से वन ऑफ द ग्रुप ऑफ कंपनीज है, और वो डिफरेंट डायमेंशन में एक्सपेंड कर रहे हैं. तो जो उनके अंदर इन हाउस थे ना, तो उन्होंने उनको डिवाइड कर दिया है. वो बाद में वो अलग केस स्टडी है. तो बात कहने की इतनी है कि वो लोग कहते हैं कि टेक्नोलॉजी लेवरेज है, राइट? टेक्नोलॉजी इतनी फास्ट से चेंज हो रही है, तो आप लोगों ने टेक्नोलॉजी को अपने बिजनेस में इंटीग्रेट कर लिया. आप लोग एक B2B बिजनेस है, आपका ब्रांड पर्सोना वगैरह आप लोग को समझ आ जाएगा. अब मैं आती हूँ, आप लोग ने अपनी टीम बिल्ड की है 4 लोगों की. जब हम बात कर रहे हैं अभी, जब कॉन्वर्सेशन आपने मुझे अपना जवाब दे के एंड किया है, तो आप लोग की टीम हो गई 12 लोगों की. आप लोग ने वो 12 लोगों को कैसे सिलेक्ट किया? और आप लोग की टीम बिल्डिंग प्रोसेस में अजीमा आपकी स्टोरीज पे देखती हूँ, अरहम आपकी स्टोरीज पे देखती हूँ, मैं ConnectHear को बहुत क्लोजली फॉलो करती हूँ बिकॉज आपकी कंटेंट क्रिएशन स्ट्रैटेजी मुझे बहुत पसंद है. I'm a OG for content creation. Like जो टिकटॉक से वो जो बताते थे ना, वो जो क्या बोलते थे, वो जो अपनी लिपसिंग करते थे, that was like the very good point. वो लिपसिंग में अगर लिपसिंग को कैपिटलाइज करके आप अभी यहाँ पे पहुंचे तो आपको ये कंटेंट क्रिएशन का गेम.
Dub smash.
Yes, you're right. तो ये Gen Y को समझ नहीं आएगा, ये Gen X को समझ नहीं आएगा शायद. हम क्या बात कर रहे हैं, तो गूगल कर लो दोनों. तो जो लिपसिंग से कंटेंट क्रिएशन की जर्नी स्टार्ट हुई थी और अभी आहिस्ते बूम होता रहा. तो आपने जब एक्सप्लोर किया था वीडियो कंटेंट अरहम एंड अजीमा, व्हेन देयर वाज नथिंग ऑन इट, इवन स्मार्टफोन भी इतने प्रिवेल नहीं थे, राइट? सो यू वर्कड ऑन योर ब्रांड एक्सपीरियंस, you give them up, you use technology and leverage to build up the ecosystem and empowered it. You had the advantage and you had advantage of COVID to kind of add the catalyst to it कि लोगों की adaptability आपके लोगों के ऊपर ज़्यादा dependability आ गई, right? मैं दोबारा अपने सवाल पे आऊँगी. 4 से जो 12 लोग आप हैं, उसमें आप लोग टीम बिल्डिंग कैसे करते हैं? आप लोगों ने हायरिंग का सिलेक्शन लेवल कहाँ का रखा था? इज इट रियली इंपॉर्टेंट कि अगर मैं आपकी टीम में आना चाहूँ, मेरा एक सवाल होता है एंड में ये लेट्स टॉक पीपल पे कि वुड यू हायर मी? तो मुझे जवाब दें आप कि नो, वी वुड नॉट हायर यू इफ यू डिड नॉट फॉल इनटू दिस कैटेगरी. So tell me, take me from the hiring process to selection and then the team building that you guys built up, because I know जो वो अजीमा, मैं आपसे वाव पे मिली थी, मैं इसको मैं क्वेश्चन को आपको आंसर करने दूंगी इतनी सी बात पे कि वाव पे जो एनर्जी थी ना, जो मैं आपने 2018 में किया था, मुझे 18 का नहीं पता, लेकिन आपने अभी किया है ना, मैं एनर्जी देख रही थी, मैं बस बैठी हुई थी, मैं थकी भी थी बहुत, लेकिन मैं एनर्जी देख रही थी, मैं कही थी यार मैं कुछ स्टोरी बनाऊँ, मैं को व्लॉग करूँ, मुझे कुछ मैं अंदर से हो रहा था कि मैं कैपिटलाइज करूँ कि क्या कर रहे हैं, मतलब मैंने कभी देखा नहीं था ऐसा, लाइक आई वाज सो हैप्पी टू सी इट एंड दैट स्पार्क द एनर्जी की डाइवर्सिटी है, इंक्लूजन आप दे रही हैं. अजीमा, शाउट आउट टू यू, शाउट आउट टू यू गाइस. मैं उछल के नहीं बोल सकती, मैं अब मुझे उस पे एम्फसाइज करना है कि वो एक ऑरा बना हुआ था वाव पे. देयर वाज एन ऑरा, देयर वाज नो कॉमन पर्सन, लाइक एक लड़की, औरत, मर्द साइड में. देयर वाज इंक्लूजन दैट वी आर टॉकिंग अबाउट, देयर वाज डाइवर्सिटी दैट वी आर टॉकिंग अबाउट. कमिंग बैक टू द पॉइंट, 4 से 12 कैसे हुए आप लोग?
So I think one very, very core element of our team is to believe in the work that we do,
right,
and to understand why do we wake up every day excited about creating a difference for the deaf community. So knowing sign language is not a compulsory thing. A lot of people ask us कि sign language जानना ज़रूरी है if we are coming for HR या operations या business. It's to have that, understanding that we are here to empower the deaf community. It's about them that we are working for, and that's what one thing was, increasing the number of our team members. We're very, very selective.
Yes, please.
It's only because we interview people who are great business people, who are great people person, However, they do not understand that why are we working for a niche group, right? It's about the fancies and not about the real impact. So people who understand the real impact, that's very important. A lot of our team members are either deaf themselves or have deaf family members. So that also adds a lot of value. You know, they have the upbringing to create a difference for the entire community. And then we never say that, you know, whatever work that we're doing, it's because of Arhum and I, it's because of the people who drive it, people who actually do it on the surface. And I think acknowledging them, appreciating them and empowering them is so important. So if our team members have new ideas, we let them do it. So, you know, if a team member who is from interpreter department and not marketing team, but if they have a marketing idea and they pitch it to us, we'll be like, kar lo. Marketing team se baat karo, kar lo. We have a new intern who joined us in the marketing team. You know, she has wonderful ideas, but we wouldn't stop her just because she's an intern and she just joined it. So I think empowering people, because when you empower them, you see the passion behind the things that they do. You create them into leaders. And I think one thing that's very important in building your team is that Allah na kare agar Arhum and I are not there, there are other people to keep on, you know, creating this impact. So we are building leaders. We're building people who are passionate about the same cause, who are not in it just for, oh, hame salary milegi 9 to 5, hame kaam karna hai, but they're in it because they also get approached by deaf people when they go to a mall or hospital. Ke, oh, aapne wo video banai thi, hame bahut achhi
Oh my
lagi.
God.
So that's what we want to do.
Yeah, I'm just take a moment here. आप कह रही हैं कि आपने हायरिंग प्रोसेस लेवल को अपनी ब्रांड वैल्यू, आपने अपनी पर्सनल ड्राइव, आपकी ब्रांड का मिशन, आपका मिशन को अलाइन करते हुए किया है. अगर हम एक क्विक हायरिंग प्रोसेस करें, मैं एक कैंडिडेट हूँ, मैंने मार्केटिंग पोजीशन के लिए अप्लाई किया, प्लीज मुझे इंटरव्यू करें.
You want me to interview you?
Yeah, I want both of you to interview me, right? And we're going to do the segment out here.
First question, why did you apply to work for ConnectHear when you have other options out there?
Right, so I have been following ConnectHear from a long time. Big fan, sir. Big fan of yours. I saw you guys work at an event that you do at WOW, and I was just wanted to know कि ये कर कौन रहा है. But then I saw you running behind and you interacting with people that you want. आपको इंटरप्रेटर चाहिए, आप आ जाएं. तो मैं गई, मैंने आपको क्लोजली देखा. मुझे आराम नहीं देखा. आप किसी और इवेंट पे होंगे, टेक गए होंगे आप, ठीक है. तो मैं गई तो मैंने देखा आप जो है ना सबसे इंटरेक्ट कर रही हैं, लाइक इंटरव्यू. सुबह से मैं आपको देख रही थी और रात तक आप यही करी थी. Hats off to you. तो उसके बाद मैं I want to know कि ये जो impact driven होते हैं startups, because I'm very much keen to startups, right? तो I'll just cut it short. मैंने आपको देखा आप impact create कर रही हैं, आप इतना सारा काम कर रही हैं, तो क्यों कर रही हैं आप? फिर मैंने आपके ऊपर रिसर्च की, फिर मैंने ConnectHear को फॉलो किया. तो मुझे करना था कि मुझे यही काम करना है, because मेरा objective है to create impact.
That's so beautiful to know, and you followed us. So
yes.
If I ask you that, what are the things that you liked about our social media presence, and what are the things that we can make better?
Right, so I do have suggestions on that. So when I see your social media platforms, it's very much interactive. I think the quality of content, it's there, but I think you can do more collaborations, right? मैं एक चीज़ की बहुत बड़ी advocate हूँ. I say कि push नहीं करो, influence करो. पुश का टाइम जा चुका है. आप इन्फ्लुएंस करेंगे ना तो लोग एडेप्टेबिलिटी को बड़े आसानी से ले लेंगे. Right, so you guys do amazing work. I think you should guys start influencing them. Like you being a face. अगर आप लोगों को खुदा न खास्ता कुछ होता है, may God forget, touch wood. So अगर आपको कुछ होता है तो आपने advocates बनाए हुए succession planning के लिए. It's basically a core HR. आपने succession planning के advocates बनाए हुए. That's wonderful. आप जो है more collaboration और more partnership focus करें.
Okay, and what's that one collaboration you'd like to take on when you join our team?
So I have my own role. I have my own startup that I'm working on. It's a US-based startup. I am building a Pakistani brand, but out of US, because I want to explore UAE market. But I'll come back to the society and give back to Pakistan, because Pakistan को अभी देने की ज़रूरत है. पाकिस्तान से आप ले नहीं सकते फिलहाल. ठीक है, तो जब मैं आपके साथ काम करूंगी तो one thing I want to work with you on this. Then I want to आपका question क्या था?
What collaboration will you
ठीक
bring
है.
for us?
So Let's Talk People will collaborate with ConnectHear on diversity and inclusion, which is a jargon at the moment, and we are going to capitalize on a segment कि आप deaf community को आप कर रहे हैं. मैं आपको लेके जाऊंगी international market में, वो market जो आपने explore नहीं किए हैं. तो ये आप एक collaboration करें B2B. मैं B2B. अगर हम B2C की बात करें तो there are many micro influencers There are macro, then there are micro influencers. तो why don't you guys do one thing कि मैं आपको micro influencer से connect करवा दूँ, ठीक है, और मैक्रो से हम जब, और मैक्रो को आप पैसे ना दें, मैक्रो को आप बोलें कि आप इसको सरकार जारिया समझ के कर लें. सादा वाला बोलता है, सादा वाला जो चैप्टर डायरेक्टर, वो कहता है वीडियो सरकार जारिया है, आप बनाएं, आपको जो समझ आता है आप बनाएं और आप आगे पहुंचाएं. So that's what I want to do.
Do you have any questions?
No, I think she covered a lot. And I think your last question was.
Please ask me something about tech. I'm really stupid in that. I'm working in a tech industry. I'm trying to explore everything else. So I ask the most stupid questions.
Achha. So what are the sort of technologies you use on a day-to-day basis to fulfill your marketing work?
ठीक है. तो I'll give you a little background here. मैंने मुझे कुछ नहीं आता था. मैं कोई 15 साल की उम्र से काम कर रही हूँ और अब मैं 21 साल की हूँ. तो 15 और 21 के बीच में जो है ना, मैंने बहुत कुछ सीखा भी है और बहुत कुछ डांट भी खाई है. तो जब डांट खाती थी तो मैं खाती थी कि मुझे डिज़ाइन नहीं आता और मैं बहुत जल्दी जल्दी काम करती हूँ. तो मैं जल्दी जल्दी काम करते हुए आप गिर जाते हैं, राइट. हमारा मसला है कि जब हम जैसे एंटरप्रेन्योर्स बैठे होते हैं ना, तो हमारे साथ एक जो है सीनियर लेवल के ओपन टू आइडियाज एक्सप्लोरेटिव आदमी का बैठना ज़रूरी है, हु इज़ वेरी मच एक्सपीरियंस लाइक जहान, राइट. क्योंकि वो हमें स्लो डाउन करेंगे, वो हमें बोलेंगे बेटा दिस इज़ नॉट द टाइम टू डू इट, करोगे लेकिन थोड़ा टाइम रखें. सकून हमें सकून की ज़रूरत है, राइट. विद द काइंड ऑफ पीपल जो रश करते हैं चीज़ों को. कमिंग बैक टू द पॉइंट, तो मैंने सीखा कैनवा से लेकर मैंने एडिटिंग सीखी और अभी मुझे ना कोर कैनवा तो लाइक बहुत बेसिक हो गया है. तो उस पर मैंने वो प्रेजेंटेशन वगैरह सीखी. तो मुझे पावर पॉइंट नहीं आता चलाना, मुझे एक्सेल भी नहीं आता चलाना. तो मैंने कहा मुझे नहीं आता, ये दोनों चीज़ें नहीं आती, लेकिन मुझे कैनवा आता है, मुझे पावर पॉइंट आता है और मैं एडोब सीख रही हूँ. फिर मैं इलस्ट्रेटर सीखूंगी. इसको तो ChatGPT ले गया, ठीक है. पर फिर ChatGPT से मुझे कंटेंट क्रिएशन के मोर वैल्यूज लाने हैं. तो उसकी जितनी आप एक्सप्लोरेटिव कर सकते हो, तो ये मैं रुक नहीं सकती. इट्स लाइक continuous cycle, and it's very interesting. So I want to do that.
I think that's a good point. I think understanding that your limitations are on the basis of the fact that the world is constantly changing and you have to keep up.
Right.
I think is चीज़ की awareness होना भी in all of us these days is very important.
Right.
Even at our office recently, we had a whole team meeting. We brought them all together and helped them understood where ये सारी ChatGPT और generative AI वाली चीजें क्या क्या exist
team building और engagement activities करते हैं.
So beyond engagement, we asked them to use ChatGPT on their day-to-day usages.
Can you like elaborate क्या करते हैं हम लोग?
Sure.
मुझे जानना है.
हाँ. So it starts from everything from creating proposals to emails to doing anything on a large scale. जो repetitive task उनका सिर्फ time drain out करता है. It's tedious but it's not productive, right? So anything like that, we ask the team कि offload that work to ChatGPT.
Please do that.
All of you have access to it. Please use it. We've given them guidance on how best they can use it. और वो सारी चीजें हम
things have been faster.
Absolutely, 100%.
Is it a catalyst?
100%.
Do you think that ChatGPT and AI coming in?
People are now, our team members. So we have an Instagram group as well. So people would like send us options कि अच्छा हम लोग ये वाला भी tool use कर सकते हैं, वो भी tool use कर सकते हैं.
Oh my God, people do that?
Yeah, our team members definitely do that. It's good learning for us.
Team members करते हैं, like आपको लोग बाहर से करते हैं.
No, I'm talking about my team members. कि हम लोगों ने उनको जब ChatGPT का बताया, right, and उसके बाद now they're exploring other things, other tools as well, educating us about it, and other engaging activities, of course. So our team members come up with their own activities, own celebrations, birthdays for sure, but other celebrations as well.
What are those other celebrations?
So we definitely do an iftar together.
I saw that. It was beautiful. उसमें आपने there was this like really beautiful आपने गिफ्ट्स वगैरह किए. मैं आपका आइडिया कॉपी करने वाली हूँ by the way. मैं आपका आइडिया कॉपी करने वाली हूँ अपनी करंट ऑर्गेनाइजेशन में. वो बड़ा मजे का था.
So we also do a secret Santa. That's been our tradition. So year end where we have secret Santa, and now the team is very prompt on doing that.
Right.
We also try to at least go out or hang out, like make a restaurant based plan, but it's very homely. But I think iftar and our secret Santa plans are must happening.
What are some other engagements that you do?
So we definitely do like a lot of
वो team building वाली क्या scene होता है?
So Friday meetings जैसे
Friday की meetings हैं?
And Friday meetings are not just like work meetings. It's about, so what did you do something that made you happy this month or this week, or what are things that you're struggling with and we can help each other out. So things like that.
Can I please get on board it? मुझे एक हफ्ते के लिए incubate कर लें अपने पास. एक हफ्ते. Yeah, can I do that? अच्छा मुझे
probably fall in love with the team.
Yes, I would like do that. तो मेरा और कोई questions हैं आपको? मुझे hire कर रहे हैं आप लोग?
I don't have any other questions.
Yeah, I didn't either.
कोई तो क्वेश्चन करें जहाँ जो उनको सीखने को मिल जाए. प्लीज सीख लो कुछ.
So अब हम क्वेश्चन पूछते हैं, so you're able to cover a lot of breadth. So that's
तो I would just like end this. आप मुझे हायर तो कर रहे हैं ना?
Yeah.
Please. I'm hired. Oh my god, Azima has the best handshake.
She's gonna start building our.
Yeah.
So one post every day from you and the rest from our.
No, I won't do that. I would. You need to capitalize me, right? You need to capitalize me. आप मुझे पे कर रहे हैं, अच्छा खासा पे करेंगे, तो आप capitalize करेंगे मुझे कि मैं आपकी expansion plan को लेके चलूँ.
I think one advice I would give to all entrepreneurs or all professionals out there.
From this conversation, what is the takeaway?
From this conversation as well is that there are so many things happening and we get distracted very easily.
Right.
So it is important to build on skills and focus on things and making sure that our skill set, the value that we're adding to the company that we're joining in should be unique.
Right.
So everyone
make
has
your own
similar,
processes.
Make your own persona and be proud about it and reflect that in your interviews. That's also very, very important.
And I think it's very easy कि आप बस online 2-4 posts देख लेंगे किसी influencer से and you would be influenced by the fact कि अभी इस चीज का दौर खत्म हो गया. I want to jump on this bandwagon. Now we have to go to crypto, to Bitcoin.
Right.
Like from a tech perspective, now
please,
it's AI.
Now we have finally the facts.
So I do want to add the fact that it is difficult to sort of focus on something for years on end, but it is that sort of focus and that grit and that consistency you put in towards something that yields the most sort of benefit out of it.
Yeah.
So I completely agree with the fact that sort of pick what lane you want to be in and give it your all for long periods of time.
ठीक है. I'm just gonna quickly follow up एक मेरा question आपके साथ. आप बात कर रहे हैं, आप लोगों की core expertise है. I'm seeing a clear division. I'm seeing कि how you guys backed up. अजीमा मुझे बोल रही थी कि आपको दूसरा follow up episode की जरूरत नहीं पड़ेगी. यहाँ पर wrap up हो जाएगा. मैं completely agree करती हूँ. मैंने process किया. दोनों ने आराम से handle कर लिया. मैं तो सिर्फ सवाल पूछ रही हूँ. मैं तो hit up कर रही हूँ conversation को. Thank you Azima. I did not know कि होगा क्योंकि यहाँ पर एक point है for the entrepreneurship. We three are sitting here as an entrepreneur and we are collectively very young, right? I'm 21, you are
25.
Turning 25 next week.
Oh my god. So we are like 20s early millionaires, billionaires होने वाले हैं इंशाल्लाह. लेकिन ये important नहीं है. Important ये है कि society का impact क्या है, society का impact क्या है, community का impact क्या है, capitalization important है. किसी भी business को करने के लिए सिर्फ आप business नहीं बना रहे, आपकी sustainability important है. अगर आप sustainability को focus नहीं कर सकते ना तो आप business नहीं कर सकते, right? If I'm just trying to do it. अगर आपने I just want to come to the core expertise वाला part and I want your guys to focus on young entrepreneurial journey. तो हम देखते हैं कि universities हैं. I worked with IB recently on an outreach program for Startup Line and I worked with so many other programs and there's so many things in the pipeline that people keep jogging on. मुझे ये समझ नहीं आता कि हमारे पास इतना सारा talent pool है. Like there is 80%, अगर मैं figures like please मुझे figures पे सही करिएगा, अगर 80% पाकिस्तान के पास young audience है, young वो है population है, ठीक है, और वो young population का segmentation इतना important हो गया है क्योंकि there's so much happening, market keep changing, consumer behavior keep changing. और जी आप ये बता सकते हैं कि एक तो starting early is a pointer. अभी आप उनको एक करियर पाथ की ज़रूरत है. अभी पहले तो हम बोलते थे कि आप प्लीज कनेक्ट कर लें, बात कर लें, आप समझ आ जाएगा. अभी के जो people coming out of the university, people in the university, people out of like एक नर्सरी का बच्चा है ना, नर्सरी का बच्चा आप मेरा बच्चा होगा तो मैं बच्चे को प्ले स्कूल में दिलवाऊँ और वो जब बाहर निकले यूनिवर्सिटीज़ है ना तो वो पैसे तो मेरे ख्याल से वो 7th क्लास में बनाना शुरू करते हैं. कैसे शुरू करें? वो डिजिटल स्किल बेचे, वो अपने आप को बेचे, वो वॉलंटियर करे, एंटरप्रेन्योरशिप करे, कुछ भी करे, बस करता रहे. मुझे नहीं पता, वो करे, एक्सपेरिमेंट करे, जस्ट गिव द हॉरिजन. तो एक तो आता है करियर डेवलपमेंट का पॉइंट ऑफ व्यू विच आप अपनी टीम बिल्डिंग में भी दे रहे हैं, और एक आ रहा है पॉइंट ऑफ व्यू कि आप अपने आप को पुश करें. वो पुश के लिए अवेयरनेस जरूरी है. अवेयरनेस आ जाएगी. करियर डेवलपमेंट का पाथवे, यू एज एन एंटरप्रेन्योर, व्हाट इज द करियर डेवलपमेंट का पाथवे जो आप अभी देखते हैं आपकी जो आप इंटरव्यूज कर रहे होते हैं ना, तो अगर आपको मैं ऑन बोर्ड, आप मुझे कर रहे हैं, आई एम जस्ट गोना कैरी द सेम कन्वर्सेशन, मैं आपने मुझे ऑन बोर्ड कर लिया, आई एम ऑन बोर्डेड विद यू विद द पोजीशन व्हाटएवर यू लाइक, राइट, ग्रोथ एक्सपेंशन व्हाटएवर, राइट. मेरे लिए करियर प्लान क्या है आपके पास?
So, अच्छा, इसमें I think I want to correct the fact कि if we're examples of anything, it is that there is no standard career paths.
Right,
because even in entrepreneurship अब ऐसे नहीं है कि आप जो है 8th क्लास के बाद अपने बिजनेस आइडिया सोच रहे हैं, 10th क्लास के बाद आप थोड़ा सा इंक्यूबेशन सेंटर में जाएं, 12th क्लास के बाद आप जो है go on your own, start it, and then build out the business. I think one thing we need to understand, as like you mentioned, that we have a lot of youth population and there are a lot of problems to solve. People just need to find problems that they're passionate about. Or uske liye just sort of start reaching out to people you feel can basically help you or assist you and guide you along those paths. For me, right out of college, I took 2 gap years. I studied myself. Usi ke dauran maine ConnectHear start kiya. For Azima, she went to IBA directly right after college. But then once we started ConnectHear, we got some traction. She took a semester break, and then while I joined university.
Amazing, guys, amazing.
Exactly. So for us both, it has looked completely different from the traditional path of ki school jao, college jao, university jao, graduate ho jao, job lo. But I think what I want to really put across is that there's no career path that anyone should be following, in all honesty. I think agar aapke paas ek problem hai, you feel you're better suited solving that in an office space, that is fine too.
Yeah, you can innovate there.
Exactly. There is nothing. What I've hated about sort of seeing this narrative around entrepreneurship is that that's the only right way to do it, and you doing a job is just like succumbing to a 9 to 5 or something like that.
Yeah, it's not true.
It's exactly. It works for whoever it works for. So yeah, work-life balance आप entrepreneurship में भी ले सकते हैं, और work-life balance could also be missing in a 9 to 5,
it
right?
It is.
So which is why sort of I wanted to put across that there's no career path. You figure out a problem and you see how best you can solve it. It doesn't have to be building out a whole company from scratch. It could be just
you're joining the impact, right?
Exactly. Yeah. Or like working with an organization to do that.
And having 2 different skill sets. You know, you can be a chef and you can be a tech guy.
Absolutely.
Like, I have this question.
Like I love cooking and making videos, but
can you know, like हम खाने पे एक वीडियो बनाएं साथ में मिलके?
Absolutely.
मैं एक शेफ, आजकल मैं नई शेफ हूँ.
अच्छा.
मैं खाना में बनाती थी अब्बा के लिए, तो बाबा जो है, you know, he passed away, मैंने खाना बनाना बंद कर दिया था. अब मैंने खाना बनाना दोबारा शुरू किया, तो I'm like शेफ. अभी जो ईद में आपको मैं बॉक्सेस दूंगी ना, अब मैं उसमें आप टेस्ट करेंगे.
Yes, please.
है ना, तो मैं केक खुद बनाने वाली हूँ. I am sure. तो अरहम मेरे साथ बना रहे हैं, आप टेस्ट कर रहे हैं.
Yes, for sure.
Coming back to the point, when I say career development path, तो it's like a very jargon. मैं आपको थोड़ा emphasize, मैं I have a HR background, लेकिन मेरे जो having a great mentor on board, he's like very diverse background, तो उन्होंने मुझे 6 महीने में ये सिखाया कि career development program like Laiba. Can you just go to the page that लाइबा को आज हमारी टीम बिल्डिंग एक्टिविटी है. लाइबा मेरी टीम है, तो लाइबा के साथ हमने आज कुछ पॉइंटर्स पे डिस्कस करना है, which I'm gonna give her a career growth plan. So you don't have a career, you're okay. If you're a lost cause, you're okay, right? If you're lost, you're depressed, you don't know what to do with yourself, it's okay.
Absolutely.
What I meant by career development program, when I'm getting on board, मैं अपनी एग्जाम्पल लेती हूँ, हम दोबारा उस सिनेरियो में आ जाते हैं कि मैं आपके पास इंटरव्यू के लिए आई हूँ. नहीं, आपने मुझे ऑनबोर्ड किया आपकी कंपनी में. अब आप मुझे बताएंगे कि लारेब, आपकी कोर एक्सपर्टीज ये है, आपका जेडी ये है, ठीक है, लेकिन ये 9 to 5 नहीं है. It is the ecosystem that we are building. You are your owner. आप ओनरशिप दे रहे हैं ना, क्योंकि आप सक्सेशन प्लानर भी कर रहे हैं, सक्सेशन प्लानिंग भी कर रहे हैं आप, तो आप ओनरशिप दे रहे हैं अपने एम्प्लॉइज को. 12 एम्प्लॉइज हैं, 4 से 12 जो हुए, आपने ओनरशिप ली जब भी हुआ है, राइट? यूर बिल्डिंग योर कोर वैल्यूज आपकी बिल्कुल अलाइन टैक्ट है, वो मैं देख सकती हूँ. करियर प्रोग्राम जब मैं बोलती हूँ, तो मैं आपके साथ ऑन बोर्ड आई, मैं आई एम ऑन बोर्ड इट, वट एवर द पोजिशन यू हैव. आई एम लाइक पीपल पर्सन, तो मैं कनेक्टिविटी आप मुझे डाल दें, आप मुझे ConnectHear के कनेक्टिविटी में डाल दें, कनेक्टिविटी बता दें मुझे आप, ठीक है? तो आप मुझे वो बना रहे हैं. अब मैं आपसे बोल रही हूँ, अरहम, आपसे सवाल है. अरहम, आई एम ऑन बोर्ड इट, आप मुझे बता रहे हैं कि जी लारिब, ये आपके टारगेट्स हैं, ये आपकी जेडी है, ये आपकी एडिशनल रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी है. आप हमारे साथ बैठेंगे, मतलब आप लोगों के साथ बैठ के मुझे बहुत सीखने को मिलेगा. तो ये हमारी मिस्टेक्स हैं, इसके ऊपर तुम बताओ कि अगर तुम्हारी जगह होती तो ये कर सकती थी, तो ये तुम्हारी, हम तुम्हें मेंटोरशिप का अलग एज दे रहे हैं. तो आप मेरे EVPs को, एम्प्लॉय वैल्यू प्रपोजिशन को आप थोड़ा एक्सपेंड कर दें. मैं तो आपको थोड़ा समझाती हूँ. एक बंदा ऑनबोर्ड आता है, मैं आपसे एक सवाल पूछूंगी, अरहम, आपको मैं 10 लाख रुपए दूँ या आपको मैं कल्चर दूँ, आप क्या चूज करेंगे?
Oh, we're very like keen on culture.
Right? Because you know that is gonna pay you way better than any other thing. In terms of values, आप रात को नींद सो सकेंगे. तो जब एम्प्लॉय मैं आपके साथ ऑनबोर्ड हो रही हूँ, तो आप मुझे देंगे, लारिब, आपकी एम्प्लॉय वैल्यू प्रपोजिशन क्या है? तो एम्प्लॉय जरूरी नहीं है कि वो कॉर्पोरेट सेव हो. कॉर्पोरेट सेव मैं आज ही एक साहब से डिस्कस करी थी, लाइक वेरी बिग इनटू सेल्स, तो मुझे कहते कॉर्पोरेट सेव क्या है, तो आपके लिए कॉर्पोरेट सेव है क्या?
I think it's just a derogatory term for people wanting to feel better.
थोड़ा आसान बता देना मुझे, derogatory का मतलब नहीं पता.
हाँ, नहीं, मतलब I think corporate slave is just a term that has a negative connotation.
Exactly.
That nobody should be.
What is it to you?
corporate slave is like, yeah, I think it's just a feeling. Like,
Right?
it's not real.
I agree. It's a feeling actually. So you are saying कि आप हमारे owners हैं, हम अपनी वो इंटरव्यू वाली चीज़ों को ऑनबोर्ड लेके चल रहे हैं. तो मैं कह रही हूँ कि आपने मुझे ऑनबोर्ड किया, आई एम ऑनबोर्डेड, आई एम लाइक वर्किंग, आई एम लाइक कनेक्टिवेटर फॉर ConnectHear. तो आप मुझे डेली दे रहे हैं कि लारिब ये रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी है, ये टारगेट है, मैं तो आप लोगों को मेंटोरशिप अलग दूंगा, तो वो मेरे लिए एड वैल्यू है. मेरे लिए एड वैल्यू है मेंटोरशिप आप लोगों की, मेरे लिए एड वैल्यू है आपका मार्केटेबिलिटी होना और आपका ConnectHear के साथ एक्सपेंशन प्लान को मुझे फोकस करना.
राइट.
वो मेरा आपका मैंने एक्सचेंज कर लिया ना आपसे, मैंने आपसे मेंटोरशिप ले ली और मैंने आपको बोला मैं आपको ग्लोबल मार्केट के एक्सेस देती हूँ.
श्योर.
ठीक है.
सो
कमिंग बैक टू द पॉइंट, बस आप उसके अपना मुझे पॉइंट ऑफ व्यू दीजिएगा. EVP तो एम्प्लॉय वैल्यू प्रपोजिशन, आप मुझे वैल्यू दे रहे हैं, मैं आपको वैल्यू एक्सचेंज कर रही हूँ. इनको समझ आता है कि मुझे पैसा मिल रहा है, मतलब बच्चों को पैसा मिल रहा है, 50,000 रुपये मिल रहे हैं, तो वो उनके लिए बेस्ट है. आप समझा सकते हैं कि अगर आपको ऑब्जेक्टिव मिल रहा है और आपको मेंटोरशिप मिल रही है और आपको एक्सप्लोर का पार्ट मिल रहा है और आपको जॉब भी मिल रही है, जॉब बेशक मिल, तो वो क्यों इंपॉर्टेंट है. और वो अगर आप जॉब भी ना करें, आप अगर एंटरप्रेन्योर हैं, जो आपके पॉइंट्स थे, वो क्यों इंपॉर्टेंट है, एक करियर, उसका करियर ग्रोथ प्लान क्या है.
श्योर. So I think इधर वो चीज़ है कि based on the understanding you've given me, I feel एक जो इधर major problem है is keeping everything transaction.
Exactly.
आप mentorship दे रहे हो तो मैं आपको EVP and all of these things.
बहुत jargon है.
Exactly, right? So I think in terms of how we help our team members grow at ConnectHear is keeping it very sort of open-ended for them कि we don't box them in, like Azima mentioned, you know. अगर कोई बंदा marketing के लिए आ रहा है, उसको हम लोग ये नहीं बोलते कि यार आपकी जिंदगी Facebook, YouTube और Instagram से शुरू होकर खत्म होती है. You should absolutely have no say in how we should do a certain video or how we should, you know, improve our training programs. So I think giving everyone the opportunity to be heard, say giving them an opportunity to, you know, present their feedback, and that feedback being considered, not just like अच्छा हाँ ठीक है बताओ we'll do it and then not do it at all, right?
Leadership का बहुत बड़ा रोल है आपका.
Exactly. And then also giving people the space कि यार if you feel कि over time you're not a good fit in a certain place, giving them an opportunity to explore different avenues within the company.
Right.
Yeah.
For us, what we have not done is कि if someone doesn't work well for one thing, we go like अच्छा यार you're not good enough, you go.
Right.
There's a reason कि why people who come at ConnectHear stay on for years and years on end, and why all of them have different varying backgrounds. Some have only basically gone to colleges, some gone to universities, some are still studying. So we have different backgrounds, right? And all of that is being supported by making sure that we don't box them.
Yeah, I think unka background समझना भी बहुत जरूरी है.
Yes.
So आज जब background कहती हैं, मैं conversation को बस wrap करने पे आ रही हूँ. मेरे दो सवाल हैं. एक है कि जब आप background कहती हैं, तो आप लोगों के लिए academic background इतना मैटर करता है या स्किल सेट मैटर करता है?
Skill set. 100%.
Skill set, commitment, and willingness to learn and grow. 100.
That's all you need to know. So I'm just gonna wrap the conversation out here, and I'm gonna मैं इस बार हम rapid fire नहीं करने वाले because this was the usually मेरे podcast नहीं, it's a show, it's a brand awareness show that we do. So क्या होता है कि हम लोग एक host करते हैं, एक guest होता है और मैं एक speaker होती हूँ. तो मैं उसको एक host होता है, एक speaker होता है और मैं बस उस conversation को wrap करती हूँ. ये एक pilot project था. It was very close to my heart. I would love to connect with you guys more. मुझे 1 घंटा Sunday Friday को दे दीजिएगा. ठीक है, मैं आ जाऊँगी, आपके ऑफिस आ जाऊँगी, हम बैठ के बात करते हैं, brainstorm करते हैं. मैं conversation को wrap करूँगी. Guys, that was it. I'm just gonna summarize the pointers at you, जो आपके जो main expertise हैं. आज हमने explore किया कि कैसे अजीमा तांडिया जी and अरहम ने been a co-founder and very aligned, like उनका जो आपस में तालमेल है, मुझे नहीं पता तालमेल को अभी इंग्लिश में क्या कहते हैं, मुझे बिल्कुल याद नहीं आ रहा क्योंकि इफ्तार का वक्त हो रहा है, मुझे जल्दी से जाना है. ठीक है, तो उसका जो the coordination that they have, the collaboration that they have, and being a young entrepreneur, how did they leverage technology or everything, तो इसकी conversation के लिए go back and listen to it. However, अगर आपको जानना है more, this video has to be, you know the drill, right? I'm gonna have them over again, right? लेकिन उसके लिए एक नंबर चाहिए. नंबर स्पीक फॉर द टेक गाय. उन्होंने मुझे बता दिया कि नंबर्स आएंगे, मैं दोबारा आ जाऊंगा. अजीमा ने बोला कि मैं आ जाऊंगी लेकिन थोड़ा टाइम चाहिए मुझे, right? Right. It was wonderful to have you guys. Thank you so much for having me.
Good luck with all of your mission.
I am
You're
having
also a very young individual, so it's good to see you being passionate about it, and it's going to be worth it. So whatever downs you have, just look at those numbers or maybe comments on your videos. Even it's one very positive comment, that will tell you that it's going to be worth it. So keep on going and all the very best.
So I'm just एक और बात थी, like shout out to these both of them. इनको मैंने Instagram पे ही reach out किया था, मैं यहाँ से Instagram पे किया था, आपको भी किया था, और it's like such an ecosystem. Nestlings जो है ना, basically it's like बड़े मजे का. काश मैंने ना उस वक्त I1 को छोड़ा नहीं होता, मेरे O levels के एग्जाम नहीं होते, तो मैं आज वो core part होती.
There's still Catalyst Labs and there's still
No,
they
will
still be a part of the ecosystem.
Definitely, I'm just like अभी मैं वो उनकी जो women fellowship program है, I'm in it, but you know, like I regret that part जो मैंने papers की वजह से छोड़ दिया. I regret that part. आपका same point मैं connect करूँगी. I'm just gonna end the conversation here कि talent कितना important है, degree क्या कर सकती है, degree क्या नहीं कर सकती, culture क्या कर सकता है, culture क्या नहीं कर सकता. How important is like your drive. बिस्तर से रोज उठना, why do you wake up every morning and what is your drill? सो भी तो सकते हैं ना आप लोग, तो सोते हैं तो नहीं है, right?
Sleeping is beautiful.
Please don't do that to me. Please don't do that to me. It is beautiful, but you need to build something. You need to have a drive that drives you every day. Sunday को बेशक आप आराम करें, लेकिन बाकी दिन काम करें. Thank you so much. You have been amazing speakers. I'm gonna have you again. मैं तंग करूंगी तो दोबारा आएंगे और हम इसको दोबारा करेंगे. थैंक यू सो मच गाइस. एक लास्ट मेरा क्वेश्चन था, मैं भूल गई हूँ क्या था, तो हम जस्ट रैप कर रहे हैं.
But I like the point about numbers, so let's get that viewership in. Let's get people demanding for more knowledge with all three of us.
Don't worry. Today we explored the business model. Again, we're going to talk about the more diverse portfolio that you guys have. So it's like इतना सारा है, मैं इसमें आज से मैं business model ही explore कर सकती थी.
Understandable, yeah.
Right? क्योंकि business model B2B having मैं अभी भी बताऊंगी. Social, आप मुझे बता सकें वो अल्फाज मुझसे निकल.
Social entrepreneurship.
And B2B business sector, right? I'm बोलना पड़ेगा.
Yes.
And technology leveraging you, having that collaboration and expanding more and more. Shout out to you. Shout out to ConnectHear and the team and the amazing co-founders. It is amazing to host you guys. I'm going to wrap this up. Iftar ka waqt ho raha hai. Allah Hafiz. In the world of AI and technology taking over the world, we tend to miss people centricity and values attached to it. On Let's Talk People, we are talking culture, diversity, community building, and so much more. So join us and let's get talking.